Hello and welcome to the 74th installment of the Synapse Misfire podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me.
Jordan, what's going on? What's going on here?
We are remote again. However,
Jordan, why are we remote again, Jordan?
it's not because I feel sick, but it's because Lexi has COVID. So, and this time it's not
This
a
kid
hypothetical.
is a COVID magnet.
Yeah, dude. My sister-in-law, we spent Christmas with my family and Lexi's family going back and forth, and like 2 days after Christmas, my sister-in-law tested positive. So then we isolated for a few days, and I've been perfectly fine, and I remain fine to this moment. But Lexi's fucking dying. Like literally
Damn.
the sickest I've seen her in the 5 years we've been dating. So
God damn.
So yeah, it's not great. But yes, we are separate again, because I don't want to kill Chris and his family. I mean, I do, but not that way. I want to enjoy.
Well, yeah,
it.
he wants to be more direct about it.
Yeah, I want to enjoy it when I do.
Of course.
But yeah, so COVID round 2 is occurring. For those who may not have been listening long or maybe don't remember, I've actually had COVID before, as has Lexi. So
It's enough COVID for the both of us.
pretty much, yeah. So it's just COVID round 2, baby. But we're surviving.
You guys have had it twice. I've had it none times, so.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Christmas was disastrous for this country, dude, for COVID. The numbers are bad.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, it's bad. Like our boss, for example, waited in line from like 9 a.m. to like 11 or 12, so like noontime for a test. And that's like a quick wait in most parts of the world, the country. I mean, it's a lot longer.
That's crazy. You're telling me that everyone seeing each other, seeing people they haven't seen in a long time, being in a closed space in cold and flu season during a pandemic led to a spike in infections.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it either. Like, who would have genuinely thought? Like, imagine having the foresight to have kind of thought about that. You'd have to be a genius, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I think that would be like genius levels of
comprehension.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, so everything's just fucked at the moment. But the Synapse Misfire podcast is still going strong, even if it is remote.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. And as always, you can find us natively on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and, of course, the RSS feed. Link, in the description. Take it, put it wherever you want, listen to it. We're also on Podcast. And as always, youtube.com. Got the video portion. And, yeah. You can contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, or death threats, as well as the comment section down below. And right off the bat, Chris, Happy New Year. It is January 1st when we were recording this.
It is January 1st, an hour after we were going to record because of me.
Because I'm a COVID magnet and Chris is a fucking sloth.
Well, listen, I don't usually stay up like crazy late, but I was up till like 2 o'clock last night.
Damn. Doing what? Stardew?
Well, we're going to find out in a moment.
Ooh, okay. I think I know exactly what it was then. But, yeah, so we are in the new year, so Happy New Year, everyone. We have big plans for 2022. Pandemic
2022
allowing.
is going to be a huge year. It's going to be a huge year. On June 3rd, 2022, we're going to make a video where it's just going to be me and Jordan having a gunfight in the middle of the street.
I thought we were saving that for the 4th of July, man, for the new year.
Nope, 3rd of June.
3rd of June at 11:06, we'll say p.m. It's going to be at nighttime. We're not going to do it in the a.m. We're going to do it in the dark.
Yeah, and we got to do it outside your house because, like, that's not atypical for...
Oh, yeah, for where I live. And also,
house,
the best part is, like, you have neighbors and stuff, but, like, there's a lot more neighbors around me directly. So we want as much collateral damage.
It's more likely that we'll take out, an extra person, like a stray bullet will hit someone.
Yeah, and there's a highway behind my apartment, too, so if if a stray bullet goes that way, you could take out an entire interstate at that point. I mean...
That's possible,
You never know.
If you clip someone's tire, they roll 37 times...
You just fire one bullet, it misses, and I'm like, man, Chris, you suck. And then you hear multi-kill. I'm like, wait, what?
Godlike.
Doomslayer. And like, what the fuck? What just happened? Chris gets
You
a nuke off one
500. You have
shot.
like a 500 kill streak. You drop a nuke.
But yeah, that's all right. There you go. June 3rd. Mark your calendars. We'll have to make like this really dumb freaking either like animation, or we'll do like a Nerf gun shootout, and that'll be our.
Let's
our
make
release.
it. Let's make something and then do like the worst special effects anyone's ever seen. I'm talking like, I'm gonna pull the frames of the video into paint and like draw an explosion.
Yeah, there you go. Frame by frame. Sounds like a plan. But Chris, we haven't really talked much actually this time, not because we avoided it, but because I haven't been at work in 5 days. I've been working from home due to COVID. So how was Christmas for you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not like a big present guy to begin with. Like, I don't really give like crazy presents. I don't really care if I get crazy presents. I got a couple interesting things though.
Yeah, like what? He's like, I got a human.
No, I didn't get that. I got a electric like cordless impact driver.
Nice.
I got the 3/8 drive one because it's the Harbor Freight Special, and last time I got Harbor Freight Special tools, they broke in less than a year.
Jesus.
So we're feeling this one out, and if it continues to work, great. I'll get the 1/2 inch, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna get like the Makita one or something.
Yeah. Yep. No, we
The only thing is with the Makita one is like $400. So
yeah, it's a big investment.
yeah.
Yeah, I just actually bought.
But I've
DeWalt drill.
already used it. I've already used it a couple times. It's pretty good. You bought what?
A DeWalt drill. I ended up just buying a drill. I got it. It was originally $170 for the kit, 2 batteries, the drill, the carrying bag, and
Yep.
I got a $50 Amazon gift card from someone. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I saw the drill for $100, so $60 off, or $70 off, and I was like, hell yeah, $50 out of pocket.
I was looking at Amazon for tools, and like the only high-end tools they have are DeWalt.
Yeah. I don't know if it's some sort of a contract or something.
Maybe. I wanted to get Makita because my dad has Makita tools. And that way we have all these Makita tools and all these Makita batteries, and we can all just share tools and chargers and batteries.
Yep. No, I had
it's way less of a pain in the ass that way.
I had a DeWalt drill that my dad gave me when I moved out that sank to the bottom of a tub, and it was working pretty good. It was working pretty good the year or 2 years that I've had it since then. Until the other day, I charged it. Then the next morning, I went to use it, and I just hit the trigger, and it just had like a slight spark, and then never moved again, and the battery just died. So I bought a new one, and it's nice though.
I'm pretty sure my dad still has like his original DeWalt stuff from like fucking 20 years ago.
Wow.
It has the big 18-volt nickel cadmium batteries.
Yeah, that's what this one had, the old one.
And that shit still works. The batteries are like kind of tired, but it still works. It's good tools.
Yeah, no, my the new one is awesome. It's a 20-volt. It's so much more compact than the other one I had, and it's funny because I've
never that little like snub nose one.
No, it's like it's not so much the actual nose of it that's smaller. The actual drill portion of it is the same. It's the handle and the battery, because it used to have the big fuck off nickel cadmium battery you were just talking about on the old one.
Yeah.
It weighed like 8 pounds when you're trying to drill something. It sucked. There's a new one. There's a 20-volt, and it weighs probably like 4 pounds, maybe. It's way lighter. And it's so powerful, dude. Like I charged up both batteries. I went to test it. I put the freaking battery on, dude. That thing screams. I've never actually owned a brand new out of the box drill. I've always had hand-me-downs, so it was shocking to see how powerful a brand new out of the box drill is, dude.
Yeah, I was using my Impact the other day, and I'll talk about that later. But I'll talk about what I was doing later. Basically, the tool itself weighs like a couple pounds, and then it has this big 4 amp hour battery.
Holy
and you put it
shit.
on, and it just like doubles the weight.
God damn.
It's not bad though. It's way less of a pain in the ass than air tools.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with the setup you have going on at your house too, where you have your air hoses and they're running like a quarter mile.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what it is with like how it works with like pneumatics, but if there's power loss over distance, I imagine there has to be.
Oh yeah, yeah, I would assume so.
Especially because we're using like 3 different sizes of hosing going all the way out of the shop.
And it's not even going from bigger to smaller. It's like bigger to smaller to bigger, so you're completely fucked.
Oh yeah. So there's a kink somewhere, so you lose like 80% of your pressure.
Yeah.
It's a whole hassle, and then you have to worry about like I'm kind of stupid, so I might like step on one of the airlines, a rock goes clear through it and blows it up.
You drop your car after you're done working on it, and it lands on the airline. You're like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. And my pneumatic impacts, they don't like really hold the sockets on them very well.
Yeah, I did notice that when we have worked with them in the past, they don't. Which I feel like that's just something impacts don't do, like pneumatic ones. Even my dad's the same way. The socket will just fucking fly off if you let it go.
This one I got, the electric one, is the sockets don't want to come off.
That's
they
good,
are
at least.
on there.
That's good because you can fuck people up with that, dude.
The front is already kind of marred up because I have to pry the socket off every time.
That's funny. I almost ejected a socket off my dad's impact through his truck window one day when I was putting my tires on, and I pulled the impact off the lug, and I hit the trigger as I was doing it, and it just spun at like a 45-degree angle, like just whittling, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Jesus.
That thing almost went Mach 10 through someone's face. But,
God damn.
But yeah, that's good at least. So you got a nice new tool.
Yeah, I also got a low profile jack. Nice. So like one of the thin ones, so I can go under my car, which is really low.
Yeah, are you keeping it in your car, or do you keep it at your workshop?
Oh no, it's like a full floor jack.
Oh,
so
full
I can't
floor
really...
jack. Okay. Oh, so it's just
I have
the
one that's, yeah, I have the one that came with my car.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people don't know that there's one in your car too.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like I've heard a lot of stories of like, oh, I blew out a tire on the highway. I had to wait an hour for a tow truck. No, you don't.
There's a spare.
Look in the trunk. There's a spare tire.
Yeah. Like
the amount of people who drive, you shouldn't be able to get a license if you don't know how to change your tire. Honestly.
I know. It's like
how likely that is to happen.
Especially in a city too, like where I live. We're not talking about like highways, which that happens enough on highways, but let alone city driving as well.
Bro, in that city, dude, it's full. Cities, especially when you go on back roads, like lesser populated streets, it's just the streets are full of like little craters. They're full of potholes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Trust me, I know that
and
one.
Especially if you have a car like mine with like thin little tires.
Yeah, very low profile tires where every time you hit a bump it actually smashes into the fucking rim.
Yeah, and you hit a bump and you have like this really stiff like suspension too, so it reverberates through your entire body.
Oh, dude, nothing makes me angrier than when you hit bumps, but it's just hard enough that like you feel it in the steering wheel. That will really piss me off. Like if you hit a bump and you're like, ooh, oh yeah, I felt that one pretty good, but your suspension takes most of it. When you hit a real bump and you feel your steering wheel slam and you're just like, I want to kill. I'm out for blood at this point.
It's like someone's gonna die.
I will end someone's life in my vicinity. Doesn't matter who. Someone will die.
Yeah, there was one time on my street they were putting in, I think, water lines or gas lines or something. So they had this like the lines were already there. They just had to run it to the house. So like I guess the process there is they dig like this little hole in the street and they run a line through it. So they had this like 6-inch by 6-inch like square hole in the ground that they had drilled, and they didn't mark it with like a cone or anything. And my wheel went in it when I was driving by. Oh, and then no. I guess I didn't do any damage, and I was on my way back from where I was going, and I saw someone else who I guess also hit the hole and was like taking pictures of it to send to the city to complain.
Wow. You know the Walmart right near your house?
Yeah, unfortunately I do.
If you go down the back road to get there instead of the main road, like right after the highway, there's like a 4-foot divot.
Dude, you need like an off-roading rig to go through that road, bro.
Let's see, hit
You
it
need
one time.
you need like a rock crawling rig.
Literally, Let's see and I went in there one time, and it was in her Corolla, and she hit it before there was a cone there. It was nighttime, and I swear I thought I dropped. I feel like the car dropped for like 10 seconds before we hit ground again. That was the loudest slam ever.
I cut through there one time. I think this was when I had my Jeep, or maybe even my Accent, and I turned on my high beams because it was night. I turned on my high beams because there was no one else around, and I just slalomed in between all the potholes.
Yeah.
Like you have to like really avoid. I was like crossing the double yellow. I go across the.
I pretty much always drive in the center.
I don't think there's any lines back there, but.
Yeah, I pretty much drive in the center there because like the sides are just distraught. Like it's just destroyed.
And a lot of times, if there's people who are coming the opposite way, they'll let you go if you're going around a pothole, or you'll let them go around a pothole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like common knowledge that area is just a complete hazard.
It is a hazard.
Like you would be better off taking your Fiesta or like my Cobalt and going in a fucking swamp. You'd probably have better luck.
Yeah. You'd probably have better luck if you drove it like over an actual canyon.
I'm gonna climb the sides of the Grand Canyon with it, dude.
Yeah, just climb up the side.
Yeah, just straight
in my
vertical.
front-wheel drive car.
Straight vertical, dude. But yeah. So overall, Christmas was pretty good. Anything else Christmas related you wanted to go into?
No.
All right. Yeah, Christmas, just in general, quick recap. Christmas for us was pretty good until obviously the news that came after. But got some pretty cool gifts. Saw some family. It all went nice and smooth. So, shall we transition into the big topic of the day? The big old topic.
The big topic.
Something we promised a long time ago that we are now doing.
Well, it was delayed, it wasn't our fault that it took so long.
No. It was just a long time ago that we brought this up. We are currently in the transition of The Witcher Season 2 Spoilercast. So, if you have not seen The Witcher Season 1 or The Witcher Season 2 and you have interest in not having it spoiled for you, do not listen at this point. Look at the timestamps down below. There's going to be a timestamp for when you can kind of skip past. If you finished Season 1 but not Season 2 and you don't care, listen. If you don't care in general, listen. You get the gist. But we are currently about to go into the spoiler cast. So,
yes,
Chris, what do you think of this second season compared to the first? Any better? Any worse? What do you think?
I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot. I did watch the 15-minute recap of season 1.
As did I.
Just to refamiliarize myself with what was happening.
Yep.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I'm glad they dropped the whole non-linear thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm really glad they did that.
Absolutely. It was awesome, and I do agree. The non-linear thing was the most confusing part of the whole series. And The Witcher's already such a large, dynamic world that adding something like that...
It's really convoluted, the lore and everything.
Yeah, that's the problem. But this season did that a lot better. Like, I knew, moment to moment, I knew what was happening, who was who, what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Much better for that.
I thought, I guess there were some people who were upset that it deviated from the books.
Makes sense.
Even though this was I guess it was kind of supposed to be based on the books, but who gives a shit,
Well, like we said, because I know we mentioned it to each other briefly about the deviation. The books are there. You can read the books.
Yeah, the books still exist. If you want the story that's told in the books, you can read the books.
Yeah. To me, my version of The Witcher is The Witcher 3, and that's infinitely different from this show, so I'm not mad that it's different,
Yeah.
But it was really good. I think Season 2 is better than Season 1, personally.
I agree. I think I'm still just impressed with the choreography and combat in that show.
Yeah.
It is comedic.
It is
how
so
good
good.
it is.
So good. No right to be that good.
So there was a plot point that I had issue with.
What's that?
So, okay. So at the end of season 1, I think this is like the last episode of season 1 where they go. It's the big group and they go to find the dragon.
Yes. Yep.
And basically at the end, it was like essentially revealed that like, oh, Yennefer's pissed at Geralt because he wished like on the djinn, use the djinn to wish them like together, basically.
Yeah.
And then so she leaves basically. She's like, fuck this guy.
He only wishes for love. Yeah.
And then, Jaskier tries to say something, and he just tells him to fuck off too. But in season 2, Jaskier's in jail basically because, you know, there's someone wants information about Geralt, and he doesn't really know anything because Geralt doesn't say much.
And the little he did say was pretty much fuck off.
Yeah. So, and now Geralt needs something from Jaskier, so he breaks him out of prison and just expects him to help. He's just like, I'm only here because I need something from you.
Yeah.
And Jaskier's like, yeah, whatever, man. We're buddies again. No, what the...
It was a little forced because I expected there to be a build-up where he breaks out Jaskier, he apologizes, and he does apologize after, but it's not...
He kind of does, but, like, he's still, like, I feel like he's still kind of, like... I wouldn't do the same thing. I'd be like, what the fuck you, guy? I'm not going to help you now. You only came back because you need my help.
Yeah, if anything, it would have made more sense in the story to have him use the sign, I forget what it's called, to influence his mind. And basically,
Axie.
That's what I thought, Axie. I keep confusing that for Idni, but obviously Idni's fire. Yeah, he should have used Axie to, like, basically calm him down and be like, yo, help me out. That would have made more logical sense, but yeah, that was probably the only part as well that I was like, why is he helping him? What is his motivation? Why isn't he just like, all right, deuces, like, I'm out?
Exactly. Like, what's in it for him?
Yeah, exactly. And then even then too, like, the help that he gives is also not super executed on. Like the whole Jasper thing, at the end.
Yeah,
it made sense, but it's still a little weird how that came to. But overall, I mean, I think the story as a whole this season made a lot more sense than the first season. Mostly due to the whole being linear and not super all over the place.
I also want to say, Eskel, who's in The Witcher 3, which takes place after the books in the show, dies in season 2.
Dude, the Witchers they killed off are fucking crazy. Like,
they killed off so many.
They killed so many Witchers, and the way Eskel dies, it's like one episode. He appears, and then he's dead.
He's there, and then he's dead.
Like, when
it was out of left field. I'm not angry about it. I just think they could have used another Witcher. They had like 20 guys who are just like extras, basically.
Yeah.
And they could have just used one of them.
Yeah, and had the same impact, because ultimately, even to the audience, you know, Eskel was still new. Like, to me, I remember when Eskel appeared being like, yo, that's the dude from the game. Like, that's Eskel. All right,
exactly.
Cool. And then he dies, so I'm like, what the fuck? But to Lexi, who had no, you know, premeditated knowledge, they could have used anyone, and it would have had the same effect. She had no attachment to Eskel. I did a little bit from the game, but I was just kind of like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, he's going to be another badass Witcher. And then he dies that same episode, and I'm like, what?
Well, if I remember right, maybe it's Lambert who's like a prick in Witcher 3, who, like, when you get back to Kaer Morhen, he complains about how much he doesn't want to be a Witcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
he's like, Lambert. I didn't choose this. This just kind of happened to me.
It is Lambert, because in The Witcher 3, he's the one with the very short hair, and he's just such a dick the whole time.
Yeah.
Same for the show as well.
Well, yeah, but it's more of like, you know, it's... You get, like, 20 guys all together, you know, it's going to be like that. They're going to be
a bunch of assholes, yeah. Yeah, no,
that's how it is.
My, I really like, I do have to say, I do really like how there was a lot of Witchers in the season, but I also do find it jarring, like, just how fast they were killing Witchers, especially at the end of the season. They were just wiping them out.
Yeah, that, I thought... I still think, like, the whole combat scenes were crazy, and all the deaths that they did were insane as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was, like, bad deaths either. So I feel like it was... And it's all, like, unnamed people, really.
Yeah, it's just a Witcher. So in your head, you're like, yo, that's a Witcher. He just died.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Um,
But like one of the guys gets like his head chopped in half by a dragon,
yeah, by the
and
what do they
like
call them? Was that not a what the hell? Are they
they're
called? Baraka?
uh
No,
they're like basilisks or something.
basilisks. Yeah, they were mutated basilisks. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that they're trying to figure out. I guess it's like this whole spoilercast is useless if you haven't seen it, but
Ultimately.
basically the whole I like how it builds on the whole elder blood thing.
Yes.
And the whole idea of Ciri wanting her like mutations to become a Witcher.
Yeah. Yep.
That whole plot line was pretty good.
It was. I was actually talking to our boss about it because he was asking about Siri. Like, he started season 2 just before both of us, like one episode ahead, and he was like, "What's Siri's deal? Like, what about her?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you haven't seen real Siri. Like, real Siri is a fucking beast. She's a Witcher. She has crazy elder powers. Like, she's a fucking beast." And he was like, "Oh, okay, really, really." And then I agree. I was pretty happy with how they started introducing the elder blood and her using her powers more and trying to control them. And I really thought she was going to go through the mutations. I really thought they were going to do it.
Well,
but she didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought about it because again, in The Witcher 3, she mentions that she hasn't undergone her mutations.
Yeah.
So she's not technically a Witcher. She was just trained by Witchers her whole life.
Yeah, and has some of their like powers, like the signs, but that's about it.
But then I thought, well, they've deviated from the games and the books as well, so maybe she does. But no, it's just like it was an interesting storyline too because, like how Vesemir is like, absolutely not. You're not becoming a Witcher. I'm not gonna do that. And then there's like the back and forth and he finally agrees to do it. And then just like right before he does it, he has this like flashback of how terrible the process is.
Yeah.
Like the mutations and trial of the grasses and all that.
Yeah. No, it you know what I was.
And then Geralt stops him, and he feels like terrible afterwards.
Yeah, he realizes he betrayed Geralt essentially. What I really thought we were gonna see, and I was actually looking forward to, was when Lambert was basically having Ciri do like the trial, not the full trial of grasses, but the initial like obstacle course. And
Yeah.
I really thought we were gonna see this really badass scene where Geralt shows up and is pissed and just starts whooping ass against them, not killing them, but basically beating the shit out of them because of an argument. But we didn't, and I actually kind of liked it more the way they did it, where it was like, okay, instead of the father figure protecting, she rose up on her own and she crushed the course.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It shows Ciri's
and then
character.
like kind of at the end, like you can tell that he's proud, but I believe if I remember right, he doesn't really give her like that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, that was really good. He was just like, oh, you were so close. You could have finished this course.
Yeah, even after she struggles like 15 times trying the course and then finally gets her right there, instead of being like, wow, good job, try again, train, get better, he just looks at it and goes, you almost had it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess
it
makes sense.
Yeah. No, I really liked the whole plot too with Yennefer trying to use Ciri. I was shook. I was like, oh no, like this is bad. And like when she starts telling Ciri like, oh, Geralt's in Sintra, he got kidnapped, and Ciri just kind of believes it. I was like, what?
Yeah,
that was a little
like,
weird.
that's kind of objectively terrible.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I really thought that we were gonna see, because Yennefer didn't have powers at the time, so she was obviously a lot more vulnerable. I really thought we were just gonna see Ciri lose it right at the end when she finally told her like Geralt's not there. I thought she was gonna lose it and like beat the shit out of Yennefer, but then the fucking like knights showed up, and I'm sitting there the whole time, dude. Like, oh no, they're gonna kidnap her, or she's gonna use her powers or something. And then Geralt just slices one of their heads off, and I was like, yes, yes.
Well, there's like I know the first part when they're at the temple, and all the guys break in. And there's like basically, Ciri and Yennefer are like pinned in like a corner And I said, "Oh, it's over once Geralt shows up." And then he shows up, and it was over.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
With no weapons, he annihilated an entire crew.
That's what I like the most about The Witcher personally. Like even the games when I play it, the way I play Geralt is he sticks up for people and he just doesn't take shit. So he knows what he is. So like you said, when they all show up and I'm like, oh, they're pinned. I'm like, what's going to happen? Is Ciri going to use her powers? Is Geralt going to do something? And then Geralt just walks and he goes, move. And they move. And then they're like, oh, you made your last mistake. Yeah. And then he just kills every single one of them.
It shows how much of a seasoned and trained, not only Witcher, but like fighter that he is.
Yeah. And you know what the show does really well too with their combat? Obviously the choreography in general is just A+, S tier, like just amazing. But you don't really see this in a lot of shows or games for that matter. Think of the old Assassin's Creed games. One enemy at a time. You could be surrounded by 50 people and they just swing one at a time and you just do these fancy executions.
Yeah.
Right? In The Witcher, it doesn't happen. Like when he was surrounded, he was getting attacked by 3 people. But he was using one guy as a shield, bending their arm to hold their sword at a certain angle, and like doing all these crazy maneuvers to fight 3 people at a time. They weren't just running at him one at a time; they were attacking they were basically jumping him, and he was using signs to blow 2 of them back, and then deflect with someone else. Like it was so good how they do that. It's perfect, so good.
Yeah, it's always awesome to see Geralt fight.
Yeah, no, for sure. And overall, yeah, this season was a lot better. I had like a couple irks with it because at the end of the day, it's a show, right? They have to build drama. They have to do certain show things to keep people's interest. And like, I did notice a fair bit of inconsistencies with certain character things. Like, for example, Geralt in that fight with all those dudes, sweeping the floor with them, wiping them off the face of this planet. He got like sliced once. But then in the end, when he's fighting the Basilisk, one of them charges him and Vesemir at like fucking snail speed and knocks them both over. And I'm like, you are a Witcher. In reality, you should be able to just sidestep it.
Well, but yes, but there's a lot going on.
That's the thing. That's what I chalk it up to. Is just that there's a lot going on. He's focused on Ciri, and Vesemir's focused on the other Witchers not dying. That's kind of how I cope with it in my head. But there's a lot of little things like that I'm like, you sons of bitches. But they ended up redeeming it because, truthfully, I was mad in that Basilisk fight. I'm like, dude, they're just killing Witchers. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? What's going on? Everyone's getting their ass kicked. And then when the one Basilisk grabs Geralt and he sticks his sword right in its mouth and then slices his head in half, I was like, there we go. That's what I wanted.
Watching the thing ragdoll off the side of the mountain was so good.
That was pretty fucking good. But, yeah, dude, this season was great, and I definitely liked it more, especially the story, just being able to follow it. And I still highly recommend this show to anybody, even if you've never played The Witcher. If you're even remotely a fantasy fan or like a sword or even swordplay fan, dude, if you just want a good story, good combat, watch both seasons. Definitely, I would say have a guide for the first season afterwards to summarize it.
Yeah, you might have to look into like the lore a little bit because they don't explain they don't really do an excellent job of explaining like what a Witcher really is or like what the world is all about or like the signs and all that.
Yeah. No, for sure. And also, I just want to talk about, I want to give Fringilla some credit for that scene where she kills everyone at the round table or at the dining table.
That was crazy.
Dude, I didn't expect that. Fringilla, so basically for context, again, like Chris said, if you haven't watched it or you don't know, it won't really matter for you, but she basically freezes a group of Nilfgaardians in place and just swats up one by one, slices their throats, stabs one through the eye, stabs one through the chin, fucking stabs another one in the side of the head, and she just executes them while they're all frozen in place.
Because basically they're kind of planning to have her killed because she's rounded up all these elves and they don't want to like fight or do anything. So, and they've kind of changed their minds around and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I do have to say, Chris, I'm a bit of an idiot. I do have to say.
Why?
So the big reveal at the end of season 2 is that Emir is actually Ciri's dad, looking for her.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really a reveal, like you know that.
Well, here's the thing: you should know that. But if you don't know anything about The Witcher, bless you, if that was a sneeze, you wouldn't know that.
I was coughing.
That was kind of the reveal, was for, like, the show never tells you that Amir was her dad.
Yeah.
So, that's where I was dumb, because I kept hearing the name Amir, and I kept confusing it with the guy from the Wild Hunt. What is it? It begins with an E. What's his name?
It's like Imlerith or something.
Imlerith. Yeah, Imlerith is what it is, I believe.
Okay.
And I kept confusing it with him, and I'm like, Imlerith, why is the Wild Hunt a leader? I'm confused. And then finally, at the end of the season, they show him from behind, and I'm like, oh, it's Ciri's dad. This whole season, I've been like, oh, I wonder who Amir is. And in my head, I'm like, I knew the whole time it was Ciri's dad. I just didn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't click in my head because I'm fucking stupid. But I'm excited for, like, where season 3 can go, and it's definitely going to be a season 3 if you pay attention to how that ends. There's a lot of plot lines that open up. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the show goes. I think it's gonna be interesting either way.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I highly recommend the show for really anybody, regardless if you've played The Witcher, read The Witcher books, whatever. Just give it a look. And Henry Cavill's always awesome to see on screen. He's a really good actor, as is most of the supporting cast. So they're all really good actors and actresses.
He plays Geralt really well.
Yes, he does. And he was saying he wants to star in a Red Dead movie. Funny enough, he was talking about that the other day on Twitter, I think it was, or in an interview.
He plays. His character's gonna be him playing Geralt of Rivia, playing Arthur Morgan. So it's just like he sounds exactly like Geralt, but he delivers like Arthur Morgan lines.
Instead of boy, he's like boy. He's more like Christopher Judge playing God of War.
He's like Roach. And that's it. Every horse he addresses.
Yo, pour one out for Roach though. I didn't expect Roach to die.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I didn't expect it really either, but yeah, it's not out of left field because it's like, it's kind of implied a lot where it's like, oh, he's had 100 million horses and they've all been called Roach. So
yeah, even in
it doesn't matter whether it's the same Roach or not.
Yeah, even in The Witcher 3, I think it's Yennefer or someone who asked Geralt, was like, why'd you name him Roach? And he's like, well, I've had 100 horses and they've all been named Roach, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made sense. But, yeah, dude, I have to say, what was your favorite fight in the whole show?
Favorite fight? Probably that one in the temple. It was so good.
Yeah, I agree.
It was the build-up and they were cornered and I was expecting Geralt to show up. But then I remembered, oh, Geralt doesn't have his weapons. How's this going to play out? And it played out fantastic.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
No, I agree. My favorite fight was probably the one in the temple. Anytime Geralt fights humans, like the Butcher Blaviken scene from season 1, that's my favorite one.
Well, nothing can beat that scene, I think. I think they really peaked with, like, Geralt fighting people in the Butcher Blaviken scene.
Yeah, because he just does it with such cadence. He just eliminates, like, an army, like a small army, like a little militia
It's
group.
like, it's almost, yeah, it is almost like he's like doing a fancy dance routine more so than slaughtering generations of people.
Yeah, pretty much.
He does it with such ease.
My favorite monster fight in the whole season, though, might be more than likely either the Brutza from the first episode, or
that one was decent, yeah.
Or the fucking, I forget what he called it, but the monster that looks like a giant ant that destroyed the tree, that destroyed the lichen or whatever.
Oh, the Leshy?
Leshy, I mean. Yeah, it destroyed the Leshy. And whatever that monster was, I don't think he ever gave it a name because he said he didn't know what it was. That monster.
Well, yeah, because they're trying to figure out, because it's like
a mutated thing.
Yeah.
That was a good fight.
I thought it was another, like the Leshy and that other monster. It was like monster from a different sphere thing. I forget what it was. It was like a mutated something or other. He finds it when he's with Istrid, and it gets away from him. And then he fights it again with Ciri.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. And that fight is pretty good because he essentially, it's another one of those things where you don't really know what's going to happen. Like, essentially Ciri is bait, and he has to bait out this monster, and then he comes up and he kills it with a stick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the fight where Roach dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that fight. That's actually that. I forgot about that one. That one's sick because he just, like you said, you just don't know what's gonna happen, and then he just like leaps off like a small little embankment and just slices it from like ass to fucking mouth, dude. Just right across. It was a good fight.
Yeah.
That's a cool one too. The Brutza fight
Show
is
goes
awesome
crazy.
though. I think the Brutza fight just has a special place in terms of monster fights. I can't compare the monster fights to the human fights because the human fights are just way better.
I mean, that's the thing, though, is, like, you think about it, the Bruxa, it's, like, almost a person.
It is almost for the first
Essentially,
half of the
'cause
fight.
it's-
It's like a person.
Because it's, like, I mean, the vampires in general, like, in the lore, are incredibly, like, intelligent as monsters go.
Yeah.
So, they're really hard to fight, usually.
The whole buildup of the fight with the Brutza, the whole Brutza scene, and the whole kind of way that whole scene goes. So essentially, first episode, Geralt takes shelter with an old friend, and you just know something's wrong. Something's just weird.
I was like, something's off, and I was like, Geralt's gonna kill this guy.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
that's
at
pretty much
first.
what I thought too. Was that all right? Geralt's gonna kill this guy. Something weird's going on, and then you get like a weird flash of like hair hanging from the ceiling and like an eye peeking, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like I thought it was like a decrepit child.
Well, here's the thing: is when I saw it, I thought it was like, oh, there's like a godling in his house, because that happens a couple times in
The Witcher 3.
In The Witcher 3. You come in contact with godlings, which are like little children creatures,
Yeah.
and they just hang out in houses, and they cause mischief.
And they act as if they're ghosts. They kind of haunt the place, but they're just a physical being. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Is that this is some like little child creature? I was leaning towards like a godling or just some other creature I don't know about. But then the way the cinematography, the cinema masterpiece that is the scene where the fucking Brutza comes out of the wall while Ciri's sleeping, and then crawls and skitters across the ceiling, and then drops down and skitters. So good.
Well, it's like every scene that's like with the Bruxa is filmed like a horror movie.
Yes. Yep.
So I think it's done really well.
It was done really well, and like you said this to me as well in person when we spoke about it a little bit when we first started watching it. The Brutza is filmed at like a different frame rate. They cut out frames from her movement.
Yeah, they do the horror movie thing where they cut frames of movement so they move more
juddery
unnaturally.
And yeah, exactly. It's like otherworldly. Like every movement that the Brutza does, and I don't know who the actress was, but I do have to say the facial expressions, just top tier. Like great actress.
Yeah, she did a pretty good job.
Like the facial movements, the slight head movements, the slight eye movements, the way her mouth moves. Oh, just so. That scene, I watched it. Lexi had fallen asleep. I watched it at like 10:30 at night, alone in our bedroom, and I'm like, "Oh, this is kind of fucking creepy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, just give me some tingles, dude." And it's just so good.
Well,
from there all the way through. So good.
It's another one of those things where you kind of like. It was just a misunderstanding. If the guy just said something up front, I feel like Geralt would have been kind of understanding.
Yeah, he probably would have been skeptical, but he wouldn't have murdered the thing. He probably would have just kept an eye out, and not went to
Exactly.
sleep.
And because the guy hid it, like he hid the fact that there was a Bruxa living with him, that he inadvertently caused the thing to be killed by Geralt.
Yeah, you have a monster slayer with you who comes across a monster they were unaware of. Especially a monster that is interacting with his basically adopted daughter. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But yeah, everything in that whole scene or whole episode, in that portion, the way it starts at the beginning with this weird like prologue of random characters getting killed by a random monster, and then it all comes in full circle up until Geralt's like it flies, and then it shows him taking a potion or an elixir.
Yeah.
That whole thing just had me. I'm like, come on, what's he gonna fight?
I think the best part of that whole like part where they're in the house, that whole portion of the show, the best part I think is when they're throwing the knives, and Geralt is like, something's definitely up here, and he grabs his own knife and he throws it and it's perfect.
Yes, yeah, he's throwing knives like a dartboard. Yep.
He's like, why are you lying to me?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yep. No, that's 100% true. Actually, speaking of that scene. I think I might be making this up, but I think he references his medallion being like aware that something fucking weird was going on. And that brings me
I
back
think
to
so.
the end of the season where where I talked before about being like annoyed that the Basilisk pushed them out of the way and like what the fuck, they should have seen that. The other thing that I thought was weird was when Ciri was initially attacking, when she was possessed by the Deathless Mother, none of the
Yeah.
medallions rang, and I don't know if there's a lore reason for that, but I was like, what the fuck? Like, you have an entire tree of medallions hanging, and it rings at the end, which is the best part. And
Yeah.
I really thought, right, so when Ciri's going through and she's executing the Witchers, I said this out loud to Letsy, none of them had the medallions on, and then it switches scenes to Vesemir, and he had his medallion on, and I literally said to Letsy, like, oh, I bet his medallion's gonna ring and he's gonna wake up, but it never did. And I'm like, I just don't understand how or
Well,
why.
I think it's more for like they can detect like magic. That's like more so a possession. I don't know if it's the same sort of thing,
I suppose,
or if it
yeah.
was just something they're ignoring for the sake of building drama.
Well, that's what I'm leaning towards, because even though, like, for example, with what's it called, with The Witcher 3, Geralt's medallion will hum with wraiths and things like that. And it's not really necessarily magic; it's kind of like a demon, which is essentially what the
guess.
Deathless Mother was. He even calls her a demon that the Witchers captured. So I think it was for the sake of drama, but I'm kind of like a huge continuity snob sometimes, and I'm not usually one who picks up on stuff like that, but when I do, I'm like, what the fuck? And I have the same complaint, truthfully, same exact complaint with Spider-Man PS4. One of my biggest complaints about the game ever was how in one scene, Spider-Man's spider sense is like his best tool, and then in the next scene, like if you remember the City Hall bombing in Spider-Man PS4,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
spider sense goes off and he's just like fucking dumbfounded. He's like, and then everything blows up, and that pissed me off.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like there's in everything,
There's
not
that.
just The Witcher, just that in any piece of media, it's like there's things that they set up that are later ignored
drama and yeah,
for the sake of drama or for the sake of like, you know, putting the characters in a bind.
exactly. You build this character, you give them a set, bag of tools essentially, and then
Yeah.
you realize afterwards that while those tools are great, Geralt and all the other Witchers have these tools that could have made them overpowered in that sense, right? Where if their medallion did ring, as soon as Ciri showed up, they'd be like, oh, the fuck's going on? You know?
Yeah, something's wrong.
So
yeah.
I do understand why. It's just sometimes I'm like, damn it. And they make up for it too. I like how smart they make Geralt on this, where he's looking at Ciri and she is like, oh, there was a monster. I heard it scream. It killed the other Witchers. I ran. And he's like, you ran? How'd you get away? How did it not hear you? How did
Yeah.
you scream but not wake
Yeah.
Vesemir? And the whole time Ciri or the Deathless Mother's like, oh, fuck. And it's like, that's not stuff you see in shows a lot of times. A lot of times you're like, oh, come on, the character doesn't realize this. But Geralt, every time I thought that, like, oh, come on, he should know. He immediately would say
Well-
something like, no, this isn't right.
Yeah, it's another one of those things where it shows like how experienced of like a Witcher that Geralt is.
Yeah.
Yep. It happens a lot in the games where he's like, "Oh, this definitely happened this way," and he's right every time
Yeah. No, it's
because he
good.
knows what he's dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the type of shit I like. I like when you build this character, especially like Geralt, who's supposed to be such a badass, and then they live up to it by
Yeah.
doing things like that. I'm always like, yes, that was fucking sick, dude. The intuition, But yeah,
Yeah, like he really knows what he's doing.
yeah. Overall, Witcher Season 2, very good show. So I highly recommend it.
Yep. Overall, good show.
Good show. And I think you had the
Now-
same. I think you had the same idea as me, Chris, by the way. Not
Oh,
gonna-
did I?
Pretty sure you did. Because after watching the show, I started replaying The Witcher 3. And I noticed you were
You are
playing it the other
never
day.
gonna guess what I started replaying.
Yeah, I started replaying The Witcher 3 on my PC.
Yep.
Man,
Yep. I did the same.
I did not realize how much. Number one, I don't really remember that game. Like a lot of the little stuff I had forgotten because it's been so
Yeah,
long.
same thing. Same.
And
honestly.
also, I just forgot how nice the world was. Because as I've said numerous times, I started it on the Switch, and I played it 99.9% on the Switch. And it's a really good port. Like, don't get me wrong. If you have no other means to play it, you will still get a fantastic game and a great value, too, for the price on the Switch.
Oh yeah, it's an excellent game on anything you play it on.
But, dude, on my PC, I have it on Ultra, locked 144, playing with a PS5 controller.
Yep.
Dude, this game looks incredible, and I'm addicted to it right now.
It's such a good time. The thing that I've noticed though, is like I never thought this would happen, right? I now this game's like 7 years old now, so like I started playing it and I was like, oh, this feels dated now. It's weird
Yes.
because it felt last time I played it was like 2017,
2 years
or
after
2016
release.
or
Yeah.
whatever, and it felt really good to play. But now I'm like, oh, it's starting to show its age a little.
Yes, I agree.
And I've also noticed that I'm now spoiled by Red Dead Redemption 2 on how good the horse works.
Oh my god, the horse is so bad in The Witcher 3, dude. It's so bad.
In how realistic and how
Fluid.
just how real the horse is in Red Dead 2, where it's like, oh, I'm fighting 16 drowners right now, and Roach is running around in circles like an idiot while I blast the horse, while I blast it with fire. It's just running around like an idiot.
Yeah.
I hate this stupid thing.
Yep.
I wish it at least had, like, the flee option that, like, Red Dead had, where you can be like, just leave, go away.
Yeah, because even in the show, Geralt does that too, where he's like, run, Roach, and then it runs away,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, leave, go away. I'm fighting things right now.
You know what else I realized, Chris, that's kind of bothering me?
What's that?
I do not, I'm probably going to get shot for this, I do not like Geralt's voice actor.
Really?
Henry Cavill does a way better job.
I'll say this too. I guess I didn't notice this the first, like, couple times I played the game. It has that same thing that I think Cyberpunk has, where, like, not all of it, but, like, there's some moments where the dialogue is so awkward.
So fucking awkward.
Like, there's points where I'm like, oh, that's, I don't like how that sounded.
Yeah, and there's a lot of animation things too, where like Geralt will be standing there, and the way he walks is like he like swings his arms almost like he's like a fucking Bubble Boy from what's it called, Bubble Buddy from SpongeBob. He's like boop, boop, he's just walking. There's that, but I agree.
Yeah, some of the voice acting's really awkward, but I mean, in a way, I think that kind of makes sense because it would probably be less awkward if it was not a Witcher giving these lines.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Witchers, as they sit, are just like, they're not supposed to have emotions. They're supposed to be like, muted in the sense of like being human. They're supposed to be warriors first.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do have to say, I kind of wish I could get a version of the game where Henry Cavill delivers the voice lines, because I think his voice has the perfect balance of being human while also sounding unhuman. Versus, I feel like Geralt in the game is just good. Like, take our podcast, fucking bass boost it to the maximum. And that's Geralt.
What I also did notice, not just about The Witcher, but just while playing it, the way video games in general are structured, you kind of do, for the sake of padding out the game or adding in more content to the game, you kind of end up doing things that are out of character for the character of the game.
Like what?
Like this happens in The Witcher, I've noticed a lot, where it's like, normally, right, Geralt, he's like a decent guy, but like he couldn't be bothered about a lot of things. It's like, oh, this old lady's crying because she had her pan stolen. Geralt wouldn't give a shit. But I give a shit because I'm playing the game and I want to get this lady your pan.
And I want
to
get some experience points and level up.
Right.
And,
normally, Geralt as a character wouldn't give a shit. So I'm trying to play the game more so as like how Geralt would play as a character. I'm still doing all the content, but like I give different responses because I'm like, oh, this is how Geralt would answer the question, not how I would answer the question.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. There's in a lot
and
of
this happens. This happens in Red Dead 2 a lot as well, because there's so much content in that game. I'm like, oh, the way Arthur Morgan is, he wouldn't give a shit. He wouldn't mess around with this European guy who has a boat that he's a little remote control boat. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. I do have to say, with The Witcher, more than a lot of games, like, and I think even Valhalla does this too, there's a very clear Geralt line, and then there's a very clear player line.
Exactly.
Where you'll have a response that's like, "Oh no, my kid got lost,
blew up,
and I don't know what to do." And there's a line that's like, don't have time for this, and there's a line that's like, fine, I'll do it for free. And you're like, Geralt would never say I'll do this for free. Like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly. As like, oh, this is me being a good person as a player. No, Witchers don't work for free. Geralt wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And there's also there's another thing too where when you do the second, like the full quest line for Kira, like there's an option where like you have dinner with her, and there's like an option, and it leads to like just a sex scene with her essentially, but you can just be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
There's someone else I'm with right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how Geralt would answer the line. So that's what I did.
Yeah, which I'm actually on that quest line right now. I just got to fight Isle. I'm probably going to do the same thing because I'm kind of going
I finished that up last night.
Did you? Yeah, it's probably what I'm going to do right after this. But I'm going...
I'm still going to romance Yennefer. That's what I did like in all my other playthroughs. So
yeah, I'm going for Triss. Yeah, I'm gonna try for Triss. I want to try to get her to stay.
Damn.
I lost her last time. But... And Yennefer. I'm going to go for both. But they're going to end up fucking tying me up like that.
He's collecting women.
But no, I very much am going for a similar route where I'm going more Geralt than I am, because my first playthrough was very Jordan, and same thing with Red Dead, where I was high honor the entirety of Red Dead. But now when I did my recent Red Dead playthrough, which I still haven't really finished, I started off the game just being like a savage, and then towards the middle to the end is when I started to turn into good Arthur.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense with Arthur as a character, and because that's difficult too, is because there's a lot of certain things with that game or games in general where, oh, if you don't do this a certain way, you get this ending, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like if you don't do this, this, and this, then this will happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in the Witcher 3, I've noticed like it's surprisingly difficult or surprisingly easy to fail quests in that game.
Yeah, I do agree.
Like I messed up one thing and I had to reload a save because I failed a quest. I was finishing up a quest and I was on my way back to a place, and I was on my way back. I did the Forefathers Eve quest with the Peller, and I was on my way back to the Peller's house. Right, and I ran into the Baron, the Bloody Baron, and then it triggered the Return to Crookback Bog quest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you need to go with this guy now, but it didn't tell me that, so I fast traveled anyway. And it failed the quest, so I had to reload the save and do the quest.
Yeah. You know what I took for granted? I remember my Geralt being just a badass, tons of abilities, tons of power, unstoppable force. And I did a fresh save. I didn't do New Game Plus because I just didn't remember a lot of the game before, so I wanted just a brand new, fresh start for the first time on PC. And
yeah,
I forget how much of a bitch you are at the start of that game. I almost died to 5 drowners,
yeah.
dude. I almost got my shit rocked.
Dude, I think the biggest threat in the first, 6 hours of that game is packs of wolves.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you go into a forest and then you're surrounded by probably 8 or 10 wolves, and they'll all attack you in sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they attack you, you get stunned, so they can just chain attacks, and each of the attacks takes probably 10 or 12% of your health. So every time these things attack you, you can get down to a quarter of your health within a couple of seconds.
Yeah, what actually rocked my shit hard was in the Kiramet's quest, where you're going after Ciri with the elves dungeon. Those golems, dude. I just didn't have the equipment to fight the golem,
God.
or especially the other rock monster. I forget what the fuck they're called, but not the golem. That thing took forever for me to beat to death, dude.
Well, here's the thing too: is I didn't buy a new silver sword. Like, I didn't get a new silver sword until like, I think I was like level 7 or 8, and so I was still using the standard Witcher's silver sword. So there was a part where I had to fight. I was doing in the Baron's questline. I was doing the thing with the tree where you have to like kill the spirit in the tree.
Yeah, and it's the werewolf.
And outside the tree, there's a werewolf. And this werewolf, if you have the regular Witcher's silver sword,
you can't kill it.
It heals faster than you can damage it.
Yeah. Yep, I had that issue.
So I was like, I started this fight, and I was fighting this stupid thing for like 5 minutes, and it was still at full health. So I was like, I'm leaving. I'm getting a new silver sword, and I'm going to deal with this the right way. So I got the new silver sword, and I came back, and I mopped the floor.
Yeah. No, I had that same issue on my Switch playthrough with that tree mission. I had to leave and get a sword, but I actually just had a similar issue. Have you done these? I think it's a side quest. I don't think it's a main quest. Yeah, it's definitely a side quest where you look for the guy's missing wife. He's the hunter, Nealon.
Yeah, I did that. That was the same thing. That fight took me like no joke. That took me like 15 minutes.
Yeah, same. First of all, I did the fight, right? So I tried to do a different dialogue option. I did the fight. I got him down. He got knocked down. The bitch showed up and he said, "I'm gonna kill her." And I tried to do kind of more of the Geralt response, or at least what I think would be the Geralt response, which was like, "No, you're not killing her. I'm gonna kill you." And that was a mistake. He killed me right after I said that. So then I reloaded. I beat him again, and then I just said, "Kill her. I don't care. Kill her."
Yeah, that's usually the option I take because I also kind of feel like that's how Geralt would respond. He's like, I don't really care. Do what you're gonna do, because this person has obviously done wrong.
Yeah.
But if you show up again,
I'll kill you.
You're done.
Yeah.
And then eventually at the end, he shows up and he's like, hey, just do it,
just
please.
Kill me. I like how it doesn't even give you the option either.
Yeah.
Geralt's
but I
like,
think that makes sense too, because I feel like either way I would have picked to just...
Yeah.
Because it's still a monster at the end of the day.
If you don't kill him, you're making this guy suffer who wants to die. If you do kill him, you're doing what Geralt should do. It's his job to take out a monster like that. Plus, you get the key after to get the chest.
Yeah, that's true. You get a... But the issue with that game, I think, is that with the silver sword thing in general, is you don't get silver swords, really.
No, it's always steel. Or a different weapon.
You only get steel... Because no one carries silver swords except witchers.
Yeah.
So you either have to buy or craft new silver swords.
Yep.
So that's the I think kind of a pet peeve with the game.
Yeah.
I have was like I had to buy a new silver sword.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
I do. That makes sense, like you said too, because who carries it besides a witch? Everyone else is gonna have a steel sword or a mace or an axe or
I mean, I feel like even if like just for the sake of breaking immersion, if they just put one like in a chest somewhere,
yeah,
I feel like it would just balance out the game more.
Yeah, no, I agree, because you don't find silver swords like you said ever. So I had to buy one too. So that would definitely be a nice little change of pace to balance out basically everything else. So, but yeah,
and I also found myself surprised with how much I remember, like how much like little things I remember about that game.
Yep.
Because I'm like, oh, all right, this is coming back to me now. I know if I do this, this will happen this way, like with the tree quest. It's like, I know if I kill the thing, then the Baron gets his wife back. I know if I free the thing, the Baron kills himself.
Yeah, no, I actually, funny enough, like the entire side quest with Nealon, the hunter, I remember that entire thing. Like, I was like, oh, cool, a new quest.
Yeah,
I started it, and then
thing.
I was like, oh, I know exactly where this goes. I'm gonna find his wife.
Yeah, I remember this.
He's the werewolf, and blah blah blah. So
yeah,
but yeah, but a lot of the main stuff I'm
it's
still enjoying.
Honestly, yeah, there's a lot of the main stuff that I've just forgotten.
Yeah,
Like I remember the Baron story and all that, but like I didn't remember how fucked up it was.
I know.
Like,
And you get the little
I
guy.
didn't remember how terrible of a person the Baron is. And in the end, I almost kind of feel bad that he got his wife back, because like I don't know what he's gonna actually do.
Yeah, I know. My goal in this playthrough is just to do a bunch of side stuff because I really enjoyed the side content in The Witcher. It's like
I'm
pretty good.
I'm thinking of doing just like kind of a quicker playthrough, like as quick as that game can be. I'm not gonna be skipping like side quests or anything. But I'm definitely doing like I'm gonna be doing like things I wouldn't normally do in an RPG like that. Like I'm gonna be fast traveling and like um buying things rather than trying to get materials and craft them. I'm just gonna do it that way. Like I'm not gonna go for the playthrough I did where I got all the master crafted or the grand master armors and I put them in my house in Toussaint.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be kind of this is how I would play the game if I was playing it for the first time ever. I'm just gonna like, but I'm also gonna like fast travel around and whatever.
Yeah, that's actually my other
So
goal too. Is I've never done the Blood and Wine expansion, so I'm gonna be doing that after the main story.
it's so good.
Yeah, I'm
It's so
finally gonna
good.
do it. So
Every time I hear like a question of like what's the best DLC ever made, every time I hear the answer Blood and Wine.
yeah, well, it's like a whole new game, like you've said
And
before.
I was half tempted to do the because you can choose like if you can choose to do Blood and Wine only. I was half tempted to just do Blood and Wine only, but I'll play through because I don't know where it would drop you off. So I'm just gonna play through the whole game.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's my goal is to
So
go through the whole game.
I can tailor Geralt to the I can tailor Geralt to how I want to play the game rather than the game tailoring Geralt to how it thinks I should play.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's my goal though, is to tip my way through The Witcher 3 and then Blood and Wine for the first time. So that should be exciting. I just hope I can kind of go at a good pace because there's a lot of games coming out in the next month or two that I'm just gonna end up getting pulled away from it again, like I did on the Switcher.
What's coming out? Oh, I know what's it called is coming out, right?
Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes out next month as well as Sifu, that game that I mentioned. Those are the two big ones for me. And then there's a couple other like little indie games. Plus I have so many games backlogged right now, dude. I
Yeah.
have Returnal. I still haven't touched since our last podcast where I talked about it. Immortals Phoenix Rising, I bought on Black Friday. I installed it, haven't launched it. I still have to finish Miles Morales 100% because I finished the PS5 Spider-Man or PS4 Spider-Man 100%. I got to do the same thing for Miles Morales. I have The Sinking City. It's a game I've always wanted to play. It's like a Lovecraft horror game. It was on sale for Black Friday. I bought that, got that installed. I just got Call of Duty Vanguard that I've been playing with Letsy, and I'll be playing with our boss eventually. It's actually pretty good. Just saying. I wouldn't recommend buying it full price, but it's actually pretty good Call of Duty. Not gonna lie.
I mean, I just bought Pray for the Gods and I played like the first boss and I haven't touched it since.
Makes sense.
I want to replay Cyberpunk at some point
Yeah, I would give it a little
because
longer.
I feel like 1 year on, like they have to have finished it by now, right?
So there is it's primarily the consoles that got a little bit of like a makeover. The PC is very similar still. There's nothing that's been changed with pacing. So there's a YouTuber that I watched called Game Range that does stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
I don't give a shit about that. Like, I feel like this is like the only game I played where I got way less enjoyment out of it because of all the bugs. Like, there was a lot of points where I didn't even know what was happening in the story because I was so focused on trying to work around all the bugs.
Yeah, pretty much fighting on the buds. So I
I
do
feel like
agree.
I would like it a lot more. I'd like it a lot more if there was less bugs, and I guess a lot of that's been fixed.
Yeah, a lot of the bugs have been fixed. I know there's still definitely a good amount of issues with the game, specifically with AI. But beyond that, I mean, yeah, a lot of it has been fixed. So there's that to look forward to. I do plan on replaying Cyberpunk probably in a while, probably like 6 to 8 months. Honestly, probably when they finally finish their roadmap for patches and switch over to DLC, because then I'll know by that point
Yeah,
it's probably done.
I mean, I'm not in a crazy rush to play it either. I do want to get it done though.
Yeah, you know what game I want to replay that I've been seeing? Resident Evil Village. I really want to replay that again.
Really,
Yeah.
the the thing now, I think the issue with like me is that I'll play a game and I'll play it like fully, and then I'm like, you know what? What if I just go back and replay a game I've already played?
Yeah.
So I replay games a lot.
Yeah, I'm usually not like that. It has to be like a game that I really enjoyed, or a long time. So like Red Dead 2,
And
that's a given.
and that's why I love the idea of new game pluses, like putting in a new game plus.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that with The Witcher. I wanted to do a new game plus on God of War, but I think I'm just gonna instead of playing it again on PlayStation, I'm just gonna wait for it to come out on PC, which is in like a couple weeks.
2 weeks from today, or yesterday rather.
Yeah. So I might buy that like today and then I might wait for it to come out and see how it looks when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think I'm just gonna play it on PS5.
I'm not like a big pre-order guy.
Yeah.
I'd rather wait till it comes out.
Yeah, I was gonna get it on PC because according to according to their system requirements, I could run it on what's called high graphics instead of original. But I realized, I'm like, is it necessarily worth it? I own it on PS4. I can literally install it on the PS5 right now and play it at 60 frames. Do I really care that much?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't have a PS5, so, like, I mean, even if it looks like the PS4 version on my PC
But with
at a higher frame rate,
yep.
I would be perfectly happy because even on PS4, like, I had a launch PS4, an original PS4. It looked pretty good.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it.
Like, it was a very decent-looking game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like... I'm not going to play it with a keyboard and mouse. I just feel like it's not that kind of game. So, like, Days Gone, when that came out on PC, I bought that right away because, number one, I didn't have a PS5 at the time, and number two, it is greatly enhanced with a keyboard and mouse. But God of War, like, I couldn't really imagine myself playing it any other way, so I'm probably just going to install it on PS5 at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see how it goes. Like, again, I want to see how it works. I feel like they must, like... I feel like they would have to have optimized it for a keyboard and mouse, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, you can always plug in a controller, but I know you're a big proprietor of, obviously, keyboard and mouse, so...
I'm a big keyboard and mouse fan in general, so yeah.
Yeah, yep.
But I do admit there are games that just handle better on controllers.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, that's all I got for this one, if you're good.
Yeah, good Witcher Spoilercast, good everything.
Yeah, good Witcher Spoilercast. Hopefully people enjoyed. Now I have to come up with a witty thumbnail. We'll see. Gotta clickbait everybody.
A thumbnail, just Photoshop us both as Geralt.
Fighting each other.
Fighting each other. How are you gonna pull that off? Who knows?
No idea. But, or no, here's even better. I'll put Geralt's head on our bodies, so it's even worse.
Oh, yeah, so it looks terrible.
Yeah. But
don't even do like Witcher, like Netflix Witcher. Don't do like Witcher 3 Geralt. Do like Witcher 1 Geralt.
I'll put us just out of left field. I'll just put us on like Nathan Drake's body instead. Completely unrelated.
So it makes literally no sense. We talked about The Witcher the whole episode.
Yeah.
But no, it's Uncharted time, baby.
Uncharted time. Oh, speaking of that's the other thing that comes out in a couple days. The Uncharted remake
Uncharted
for PS5.
4?
Yeah. So.
I have the first 3 remastered. I never even put the disc in my PlayStation.
Nice. But yeah, I'm done. We good? Yeah, we'll round it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do a little. We do a little rounding. But yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to drop a like. If you're on YouTube, if you're not, be sure to leave a email in our inbox, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, and death threats, whatever the hell you want to send us, we'll read it out.
Yeah.
And as always, you can find us natively on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and of course Pocket Cast, my app of choice. There's also the RSS feed. Put it in whatever media consumption app you want. And YouTube.com, where we have the video platform. So, yeah, find us there. I tried to get video on Spotify because I know they support it, but it's not working. So, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you need to be, like, a special creator. You need to be, like, one of the chosen ones on Spotify to do it.
Probably.
Because the only podcast I've seen that has video on Spotify is Joe Rogan, which he is a Spotify, like, partner, essentially.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get there someday. But yeah, that's it. I'm out. I'm done. We're done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Finale. Finite. Done. Complete. Done.
For this time.
For 5 minutes, and then we go to 75.
Perhaps.
Mayhaps. Okay, bye.